shows a year, normally around the holidays.
Hmm.
So outside of that, I don't do too much. Mainly just custom orders for my clients and stuff.
That's awesome. And how many like clients do you service a month, would you say at this point, or is it all sporadic?
It's all sporadic. I mean, you have your busy periods, like grad season, wedding season. The holidays are always crazy.
Hmm.
Um, and then, but I mean, I stay busy with all of their birthdays every year and the kids' birthdays and whatever else pops up.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of work, especially I feel like people would want it to be as pristine as possible, you know,
Right.
for those big occasions. I saw you did like a Halloween setup with the treats and
Uh,
everything. It was amazing. Yeah.
yeah, that was for my son. His birthday's in October, and so there for a couple of years he only wanted Halloween themed stuff. So yeah, I've done several of those.
That's awesome. Is he older, younger?
He just turned 14 in October.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's kind of up there. He's kind of up
Yeah.
there. That's good. Well, it's nice meeting you, Kelly. I know we've spoken a little bit online and everything, and we are recording. But it's good to see your face. Good to meet you face to face
Me
through
too.
like through whatever this is. It's this movie magic, whatever this camera is. But it's good. It's good. Can you introduce yourself to everybody who doesn't know you? I'm terrible at intros.
Well, my name's Kelly, and I own and operate a in-home bakery called JoJo's Sweet Treats. I got the name because my middle name is Joe, so my name is Kelly Joe. Most people ask where I got the name because my first name isn't Joe, but it's my middle name,
Hmm.
and so I call it JoJo's Sweet Treats.
I had half a mind to call you JoJo when you jumped on to the call. That's all
A
right
lot of
though.
my clients call me JoJo, or they'll call me Josie because I go by Josie on Facebook.
Hmm.
And so a lot of people call me, they'll call me JoJo or Josie.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's your moniker now. You kind of have to go with it. It's like what's the one lady on the syrup? Like how that's her name, even that could never be
Yeah,
her name. Yeah, or the AT&T girl or the Wendy's lady. We know them by that.
right.
Yeah, that's okay. Um, tell us a little bit about how you got started. I was definitely doing some reading, and so you came from some very warm beginnings when it comes to baking and everything. But would you mind walking us through, just so you could take a trip through, your journey?
I mean, I guess it started when I was young. I grew up in Kentucky on a farm,
Hmm.
and we lived on my mom's parents' farm. And so I spent a lot of time. My mom, she liked to bake, and her mom liked to bake and cook. And so I spent a lot of time just helping in the kitchen, whether it was with my mom, my grandma, didn't matter. And so I mean, my mom's got pictures of me at a young age, standing on a stool or a chair, um, so that I was tall enough to mix something in a mixing bowl. And so I've always enjoyed it. And for a long time, I just did it to be nice to friends or whatever you want to say. But and then one day I finally was like, well, I'm going to try doing this, professional or as a business, or it started out as a side hustle,
Hmm.
um, and see what happens. And next thing I know, it took off. And so that's been 9 years ago, I guess now. And so it just kind of just snowballed from there. A lot of the recipes I do are either my mama's, or a version of my mama's. The original is hers, and I've either tweaked it or added a little this or a little that. But the base of the recipe is hers. Um, but it all started a long time ago in Kentucky.
Yeah, I there's this saying that the kids are saying nowadays, saying we're losing recipes in quotations. essentially saying like everything from our moms and our grandmas and past generations, all those recipes just aren't getting passed down anymore. So I'm glad that you're the one that's holding on to the torch. You know,
Right.
did you always have a affinity to bake or cook, or was it just something that you saw that you felt like you could help your mom and your grandma out with?
I've just always enjoyed cooking and baking. I
Hmm.
still do. I've always kind of referred to baking and cooking as my love language, I
Hmm.
guess so to speak. Um, it's like with my family, my son and stuff, like that's how I show them I love them, as I cook. I cook lunch, I cook dinner, whatever I bake. So I guess it's just kind of always been the way that I show love or friendship or appreciation, or whatever it may be. It was just always a way that I felt that I could contribute, um, and still do to this day.
Yeah, it's almost like instinctual, for us to kind of cater to people the way we just feel naturally inclined to do so. You know, I'm
Right.
I love cooking. I love eating. I haven't missed a meal in a while, right? But it's still I would find myself hard pressed to say like, hey, I'm gonna cook this for somebody because I love them. I just don't think my food's that good enough or what I would bake is that good enough. Did you struggle with that confidence earlier? Like, especially going on a professional level, like, did you ever have trouble or thoughts in your head saying like, hey, maybe I should gain a little more experience or maybe I should test this a little further before putting it out there like that?
In the beginning,
Hmm.
um, there's always self doubt or, yeah, I know I love this, but are they going to like it?
Yeah.
Like if it's my taste and what I like, but is it going to be what they want? And so in the beginning, I was always very, I guess, anxious, or nervous, that wouldn't be received the way that I thought it would be. And but over time, and of course, when clients reach out and say, hey, it was the bomb or that was the best I'd ever had, or
Yeah.
your confidence slowly starts to grow, and you start to get comfortable that what you're producing and putting out there is a good product and it is well liked. And so, I mean, but it takes time to build that kind of confidence and be comfortable, to where you're okay and you're not anxious. And I still have, um, you know, periods where, especially if it's a new client or somebody I've never dealt with, and they're very particular, or I can tell that they're very particular. There's times that I still get nervous or anxious, and wonder or doubt will creep in. But I just trust that, in all this time, it's what I've put out has been well received. And I've just gotten to the point that I'm confident now.
Yeah, confident in the process you've been doing over X amount of years. Um, I saw that you got your business started in 2016, but how far before that did you have the thought of starting a business? Was it years, months, weeks?
No,
No? Really?
no.
Days?
Um, it, no, it honestly just kind of came to me just one day. And I put it out there on, I believe it was Facebook. Not as JoJo's or nothing at that point. At that point, it was just on my personal page,
Yeah.
to see like if there was any interest or anything like that. And so it kind of started there. And but it was just kind of one day. I was looking for a side hustle. Is how it started, and I was like, well, what can I do? What do I like doing? Because I'm like, if I'm going to do it as a side hustle and do it on a consistent basis, I need it to be something I like
Right.
and not feel like I'm working.
Yeah, you don't want to
And
be a coal miner as a
so
side
I
hustle.
already work enough.
Yeah, literally. What the heck?
Right. And so that was kind of, and I'm like, well, I like baking. I like making things. Um, and so it started out just strictly baking, like breads, cookies, and that kind of thing. And then somebody reached out, somebody I knew, and was like, hey, I got a party coming up. Do you think, can you do cake pops? And I didn't even know what a cake pop was. I'm like, And so I'm like, and so I Google cake pop, and I'm like, well, how do you make a cake pop?
When was this?
And so I watch the videos and I look at it and I'm like, oh, I can do that. And so I responded and said, yeah, I can do that. And I did. And and so then next thing I know, I'm making cake pops all the time. And so I mean, it's when people ask me like, how did you learn, or where did you learn, or where did you go to school? I tell people I'm like, honestly, I went to YouTube University.
Hey, there you go. YouTube University.
Right.
How?
And so, and then cake pops led to other chocolate stuff like the chocolate covered pretzels and, truffle. And so I really got into the chocolate stuff, and how pretty it looks. And, you can tailor it to, different themes and color schemes and stuff. And so, but it started with somebody asking if I could do cake pops. And I said, sure.
Yeah, I mean, you already had X amount of years of experience. I again, when I first tried a cake pop, I didn't know you could make cake that small, but it does make sense. It makes sense.
Right.
How long ago was that?
Um, it was early on, so probably within 6 or 7 months, maybe not that, but probably within 6 or 7 months of me kind of putting it out there and starting to do things, did someone ask about cake pops.
Hmm.
Um, and then one thing led to another, and then it was, oh, can you do chocolate dip pretzels? And again, I went to YouTube, and I'm like, sure. Um, and so it's just kind of, just over time snowballed, and I learned how to do it. I practiced, figured it out, and go from there.
How many times do you like try a recipe before you really ship it out? I could see it being like hundreds, or at least tens of times, you know?
It depends on, some recipes, like my chocolate chip recipe, I knew was a winner. I'd had it for a while.
Hmm.
But here recently, well, back during the holidays, I was working on a new cookie, um, called an apple doodle. So it's a snickerdoodle with apple. And I mean, I did the recipe several times within a few weeks, before I finally got it to where I was like, yep, that's it. Um, and and then other times I can do it, and I'm like, nope, it's good on the first try. But most of the time it takes a couple tries of mixing and tasting, and either the texture ain't right, or the flavor's not quite right, or this flavor's overpowering this
Right.
flavor, and so you tweak things, and eventually you get it. And but that part. That's the process I like, is when I'm creating something new.
The tinkering
Um,
part.
right.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, in my day job, I'm in IT and I like shooting videos and making movies in my spare time and everything like that. And it's hard to continually keep in the front of my mind that I'm doing this because I like it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
mainly because there's so many steps from the ideation phase, to actually getting it to people, to where you could either a lose interest or lose hope that it will be good enough, you know. But I feel like uh, baking at least is pretty streamlined, you know. Like and even you were talking about in your bio how you have personal taste testers and in that type of feedback loop and everything. I feel like that'd be pretty awesome, you know.
Yeah, I have several of my personal taste testers. That if I like when I was creating the new cookie, like I put out a message, sent out a text message to several of my friends, and I'm like, hey, I got something new to try. I'm like, okay, I'll be over tonight. Like I'll pick up a sample, and and then they give me their feedback, and then my family is always obviously willing to be my guinea pigs, and give me their feedback. And but yeah, I have my neighbors, they're always down to test or taste, or got any extras.
Extras. I'd be asking for extras all the time if I knew your mom.
Right.
Like, you know, like, hey, I know you've
Right.
been making some batches that haven't gone through. Like, the one thing I
Yeah.
didn't see, Miss Kelly Joe, is cheesecake. Man, dude, I'm such a cheesecake fan. How did you narrow down your menu well enough? Was it just the like 6 or 7 best products you know you can do well, or was it what people asked and then you perfected?
Yeah, I mean, the menu kind of grew over time, and some items went on there because I had clients ask for it, and I figured it out, and it was a success, and so I added it to the menu, and I mean, I still add things even now, but yeah, it just some things I knew were good, from jump, and then of course, obviously, as people ask for things, if I figure it out and it's a hit, then it stays.
Hmm. Is
And then
it?
there's certain things that are
Mhm.
like people ask for, like Buckeyes. Buckeyes are popular. Buckeyes are for any kind of event. I don't care what it is. Um, and so, I mean, things like that are just things that people ask for consistently, whether it's a party, a grad party, a wedding, don't matter. Then those become like the main items.
Yeah, essentially just giving people what they want based on what you know you can
Right.
do. That's awesome. I still would love to try a cheesecake from you. I know you probably made one before.
Yeah, the shooters are very popular for me.
Okay.
Like I do those for parties because they're an individual size dessert, and so I mean, there's a whole bunch of desserts that I can do, but it's an individual. They can grab what flavor they want. It's their own personal. I do a lot of shooters, and those just came about in the last couple of years, and it started with a wedding.
Hmm.
It was the first time I did shooters. I had a client reach out and say, "Hey, we're not doing a cake. They did just a cutting cake, so like a small cake for them to cut for
Yeah.
pictures. Um, but they didn't want to do like just a cake for guests, so they wanted like a spread of desserts for their guests to have options. And but they didn't just want like cake pops and pretzels. They wanted like an actual dessert. And so I started out with shooters, and I was like, "Well, can you do your desserts in an individual form?" And I'm like, "Hmm." And so I did some research, and I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that." And so then the next thing I know, I'm doing shooters all the
Yeah.
time. And I do a lot of them.
Is that like
And
solely based on portions?
mhm.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Because when you say individual, I'm thinking bite size, you know?
No, it's like a 7 ounce. I mean, it's a pretty good size.
Yeah.
It's an individual serving.
Hmm.
So if you took a scoop out of a dessert pan or something, it's equivalent to that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like literally a serving size or two. Okay.
Right,
Yeah, just one scoop. Dope.
right.
Awesome. I wanted to ask, like, what are just thinking back, when you first started till now, what are some of, the best things you've ever baked, like your most favorite and your least favorite? Did you like them all? Or were you like, no, I'm not gonna make this ever. Like, I can't get the recipe right.
So there's a couple of things that I do that they're on the menu for my clients, but I personally it isn't my flavor preference. Um, and like one of them is I do a blueberry cheesecake shooter. I can't stand blueberry. I don't like anything. I like blueberry muffins, and that's as
No?
far as blueberries I go. But I can't stand a blueberry cheesecake. Um, but it's on there because I've had clients have asked for it.
Yeah. I
Um,
don't think I've ever had it now
and
that you mention it.
huh?
I don't think I've ever had blueberry cheesecake now that you mention it.
I mean, I created a blueberry compote to go on it
Hmm.
that I could tolerate, which tells me it's good because it wasn't completely gross to
Overbearing,
me.
yeah.
And so I was like, well, if I can tolerate it, then it's really good because I just don't like the flavor of blueberry.
Right.
And and then there's a couple of like other things that it's just not like I have a mango dessert. I'm not a mango fan. Um, but if I can get something that I don't like to where I can tolerate it and it's not disgusting, then I know that it's going to be really good to whoever wanted it because that's the flavor they like anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. Um,
Yeah, that's
and so
hilarious.
I mean, there's things on there like I'm a strawberry person. I like chocolate,
Hmm.
and I like strawberry. Um, but there's things on there that are not my preference or not something I would choose, but they're there because other people like them.
Yeah, I was going through all the customer reviews and everything, and there's not a bad word, like not a single soul that is like, it wasn't as great as it was last time. You know what I mean? That's got to feel good, right?
It does. And one thing I've always prided myself in is that I don't like I've been to events or weddings or whatever, and everything will look amazing, and then it don't taste what you thought it was going to based on how it appeared.
Yeah.
And so when I got into this, I was like, my goal was I want it to look good, but I want it to like the taste to match the expectation of how it looks.
Right.
And so that's kind of always been my drive and my goal is if I can make it taste as good as you think it's going to based on how it looks, then I've succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
And so I take great pride in, only putting out things that look beautiful and taste good too.
Would I'm trying to figure out how to word this question. How long did it take you to get that excellent at it? Especially with the presentation, because I'm looking at some of the setups and I'm like, this. It doesn't look like I should touch any of this dessert. You know what I mean?
And I hear that a lot, like especially when I do like the big tables and stuff with all the fancy decorations and stuff. I mean, most people I'll hear like it's too pretty to eat. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't want to eat it. It's too pretty. I just want to look at it. And I'm like, no, you really want to eat it? Like,
It's the whole
um,
reason it's out here.
right. But it took a long time. And even to this day, even though I've been doing it, going on 10 years, even to this day, when I look back, you know, after this year's over and I look back to last year, I will see areas where I improved. And so to me, it's just every year is just you get better and you get better than the year before. Um, but it took me several years before I got to where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, but I like the fact that you don't just get to a certain level and you stop and plateau. There's always room for growth and improvement, no matter what.
Definitely. And again, being a businesswoman as well, like you have to be there mentally with your mindset because how many baking good businesses are probably in Ohio alone? Thousands. Whether it's a
Oh
side
yeah.
hustle or officially LLC'd or something of that nature. Um, as a businesswoman, like you also got to respect the fact that you're like a baker and an artist at the end of the day, like somebody who's creative, very creative in the culinary arts. How do you balance the administrative work, the revenue that comes in, the clientele that you have to continue to have relationships with? How do you pair that excellence with the excellence of making sure, your baked goods get better and better each time? How do you gauge that?
So my background prior to me baking, I was in the management industry. So I was a general manager for multiple retailers and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I did that for, I guess, close to 15 years. And so that's my background. And so the customer relations part of my job has always been there. I had to have it, as a manager. And also the drive for excellence comes from that background as well, because I was always driven, even in that industry as a manager. My goal was to, no matter what, my store was going to be the best in the district, the region, whatever, whether it was sales,
Right.
cleanliness, stock, I don't care what it was going to be the best. And my employees were going to meet those expectations.
Yeah.
And
We're gonna have the best
so it's kind of
bathrooms
always,
in the state.
right.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of always just, what I do now, a lot of it just stems from that. And, the administrative part, I'm not going to lie, is probably where I lack the most, only because it's my least favorite part of the job.
Right.
Even as a manager, I hated when I had to be in the office. It's just not, I don't like it. I don't like office work. And so Even to this day, I don't like it.
Office work
And
does
so that
suck. Like,
I know, right? And so that part of the of my business is where I lack the most because it's just not what I like to do.
right.
And I like interacting with people, like when I do the vendor shows and that kind of stuff, or I'm setting up for an event. You know, there's all kinds of people. Like I love being able to be out there and interact with the public and the guests and my clients and um, like sometimes the best feeling in the world is, you know, especially if I'm doing a display for like a wedding or a grad party or whatever, is seeing the guest of honor walk in and just be blown away. Like
Blown away.
that's the most, you know, the best feeling in the world is knowing that you didn't just meet expectations, you exceeded.
You killed them. Yeah.
And like it just it's the best. And but that's the same feeling I got back in the day as a manager when my boss would walk in and say, "Hey, you know what? Out of 25 stores, you scored the best. Your team did the best." Like that was always just a great feeling. And so I guess I chased that feeling, I guess so to speak, because it's a high. It's an adrenaline rush. It's a high. And so I chased that. And so anytime I'm working on an order, even if it's just a small order, it's nothing more than a birthday cake or, you know, cake pops, whatever. You're chasing that affirmation that you met their expectations or
Right.
exceeded their expectations.
There's nothing like seeing a smile on the face of the person you're doing work with. You know?
Right.
Yeah, especially if you're handing them a product or a service. I remember shooting music videos for people when they would first see the finished product. It was like they got a Hollywood production. You know, that's the
Right.
least I could do for you. You know, especially if the song made me feel a certain way and made me actually want to do the video. So I could see that. I can see that. I feel like, you know, you cook for yourself and you would even bake something for yourself. Me and my wife, we bake things. And I tell her, I'm like, hey, you're good enough to at least make this a side hustle. But I would never do it. Like the level between cooking and baking, I feel like baking has a lot more prestige. Would you say?
It does. Because it takes a lot more, I guess, finesse.
Mm.
Um, you know, there's more finesse in baking than cooking.
Just like
There's
with
more,
measurements or something like that, or
not, I mean, that too, but it's
okay,
like, it depends on how you want to bake. If you just want to bake for your family and you don't really care how it looks, then I mean, that's different. But like with what I do, it's like, I feel like the finesse it's in the details
right?
and going that extra step to make sure that those details are, you know, perfect and, um, because it adds to it.
Hmm.
And so there is more of a baking is more time consuming than cooking in a lot of ways. There's more steps to it. Um, but it's to me it's a what I do I consider art or a
A
form of
hundred
art.
percent art. 100%.
Which back in high school I did a lot of art. I did a lot of drawing and that kind of stuff. And so for me, and I always loved art. So for me, with what I do today, it's not just that I'm doing what I love in baking. I'm also getting to do the love of art, but in food.
Yeah, art appeals to the five senses. So you know,
Right.
being a I don't know, being a baker. I want to use the word culinary for some reason, but just being a baker in general, that's no different. No different than a computer programmer or someone who makes movies. Like anybody in a creative field should have that level of passion that you have for what you're doing there. And it's awesome. Seriously, seriously. Let's talk JoJo's. Did you ever think of changing the name once, or you just kept it at that?
No.
'Cause I know young
I,
businesses they do that a few times sometimes.
yeah, I've never had the thought to change my name, and I
Mm.
guess because um, I see myself as, and my husband says it all the time. Um, he'll talk, like I'll do things periodically, and he'll be, "You're so country," and I am, but but I'm from the country, so to me that's a compliment.
Yeah, that's a good
That
thing.
you know, even though I don't still live on the farm and I'm not out in the country and in the boonies, I'm still country,
Hmm.
and my roots are country. And so to me, um, JoJo's, because down where I'm from in Kentucky, I mean, there was probably a hundred girls in my school whose middle name was Joe. I mean, it was just like the
Right. It's
country thing to
just
do. Everybody's middle name is Joe.
yeah.
And so for me, it's like JoJo's in my mind encompasses who I am, how I started. It's country. Like it's not bougie. It's not, um, I guess cityfied or, refined sounding like some things. It's
Yeah.
just, it's country.
Modernized. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it works. It works literally. It stands out like the name JoJo itself. It's gonna get attention. It's gonna get eyes. So it's only better
And to
that.
me, it was
Yeah.
easy for people to remember.
Yeah. Literally.
You know what I mean? Like if
Hmm.
you hear JoJo, like that's something that sticks with you because it's not, a common thing, but it's catchy and it's easy to remember JoJo's. And so to me, it just kind of embodied, where I started, how I started,
Yeah.
and was also a part of me because it's part of my name.
Yeah. And no offense or nothing. It's marketable like the word Joe Bojangles. You know what I mean? Like you just say it and you're like, okay, I'm gonna remember that that's something from somewhere that one time. So it's good.
Right.
It's good. I love it. Do you have any like hobbies or inspirations that you consume or take in to help you bake? Like, do you watch a movie and you're like, I like what they were doing in that movie. I'm gonna take that same inspiration and use it to make this. Does that ever happen to you?
Um, I draw. So I love. It's funny. My husband makes fun of me. I love watching the baking shows.
Yeah.
And my husband will be like, "You bake all day, and then you want to watch people bake on TV." And I'm like, "I know, right?" But um, but I draw a lot of, or get ideas or tips or things like that from those kind of shows. Like my favorite are all of the baking championships. So like they've always got the spring baking championship in the summer and the fall and the
Mm-hmm.
Christmas and with Duff Goldman and Nancy. I mean, they're amazing. They're some of my favorite bakers. I love Duff.
Yeah.
Um, he's from Ace City Cakes, and so I love watching those kind of shows, and because it does give inspiration, or I'll get ideas, or tips on how to do something easier than what I've been doing it, or just so yeah, I do. And I've gotten some from movies too, especially if like somebody will be like, "Hey, I want a cake or something," and it's a theme, a particular theme. Like I've done some Frozen themed treats, or I've done a lot of Spider-Man. Um, and so I mean, I can get ideas or like things to do out of movies or things like that.
That's awesome, yo. I would love to see you do like a Star Wars theme if you haven't done it before.
Not done no Star Wars yet.
I might be your guy then to commission it, or like a Pirates of the Caribbean one. That would be awesome.
That
That
could be cool.
definitely. There's this guy I can't remember his name right now, but he makes like those cakes that don't look like cake, but he's like local to Columbus. Have you
Yeah,
seen him
Timbo,
online?
Timbo Sullivan.
Yeah, yeah. I could see you
I
pairing up
love
with him.
Timbo. He just won on it was Duff's show. He just won. Um, it was Duff's show a couple months ago. It was oh, I forget what it was. Anyway, the cake he did on that show, it was the theme was nautical,
Like
under
boats?
the sea.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And he did it in like 2 days. The cake was out of this world. It was the most beautiful thing I think I've ever seen in cake.
Like what
The
type
cake
of boat
was
was it? You
insane.
know? What type of boat was it? Was it like extravagant? Was it like a yacht?
No, it was a turtle. So it was this giant turtle. Okay. This giant turtle, and on top of the turtle was this underwater kingdom. So I mean, you had this turtle on the bottom, and this underwater kingdom on top of him. It was You would have never known it was cake. It was unbelievable.
I was like, you can eat that?
Um, huh?
I was like, you can eat that? That's crazy.
It was crazy. But yeah, he won. It was like a 6 week thing. There were six different cakes they had to do. And he won.
It makes me
Yeah,
want to
Timbo was
be.
unbelievable.
It makes me want to be seeing your work, seeing his work. Makes me want to be like just 200 times better than what I'm already doing. Like anytime I pat myself on the back or somebody gives me a good job, I'm like, dude, like there are people who they're like children who review toys on YouTube that are like the best toy reviewer, you know what I mean? Or like Timbo,
Right,
or like yourself. There's people who make cake art. There's people who make dessert decorations that far exceed anything I've ever done. you know? So, and to do it for, a decade at this point for yourself. But 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, businesses don't last long. So, any milestone of yours that you should hit should definitely be celebrated, whether it's big or small. Um, yeah, no, it's just amazing to see what people can do when they really put their mind to, what they're good at instead of focusing on their weaknesses.
right.
I feel like you're a great example of like honing in on your strengths so much so to the point that your weaknesses almost seem non-existent. Like you literally had to tell me what you didn't like about your work. It's amazing. Let's see here. Can you tell me about what's going on for you this year? What's going on for JoJo's? What you got planned? You were talking about the apple doodle cookie. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, the apple doodles are good. It's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's kind of like an apple pie and a cookie with some butterscotch thrown in there. It's really good. Um, so this year, I've got several weddings already booked, multiple grad parties already booked. Um, and of course, everything else just kind of gets sprinkled in between all there. Um, and then I'm looking to do more vendor shows this year. Last year, I did more shows than I ever had.
Okay.
Um, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of work and I was exhausted when it was done, but I really enjoyed it. And so I would like to do more this year than what I have in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, in a couple of weeks, I'm doing the dessert festival, which this is my first year getting an invite to do that. So
Nice.
I'm excited about that.
Can you tell
Um,
us what the festival is about? Is it literally just you go in and you can try as much food as you want?
so it's a ticketed event this year. It's in Gahanna
Mm-hmm.
at the Edison building. Um, and what it is there? I think there's 20 or 21 of us, and your ticket gets you a sample from every vendor. And so there'll be all kinds of different sweet treat vendors there, and your ticket gets you a sample from each person. Um, so the sample or the treat that I'm taking is I'm taking my Buckeyes because that's my most popular thing that I sell.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm in the course now of making 1,000 Buckeyes for samples.
How many? I mean, is it just based on how big your oven is? How many you can put in at the same time? Or
Now, Buckeyes, I don't have to bake, which
okay,
is nice.
that
And
is nice.
so, but yeah, it's still a time consuming process, and we have to have 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how many people. That's the how many people that they allow into the event is 1,000. And so yeah, that's going to be exciting. This is my first year doing it. Um, I'm kind of starting to look into manufacture or having some products manufactured. I would love to get into retail. I guess that's probably my ultimate goal. Um, People always ask, do I ever want to do a brick and mortar or a storefront? I've thought about it. I've been down that, kind of went down that path a little bit. Um, but there's so much that goes into a brick and mortar. And also just because of my past, like when I was a manager and that kind of stuff, um, like when I was a manager, I lived at my store.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't get me to go home, like because I was always the type of manager that if the job ain't done, I'm not leaving. And I worked just as hard and harder than any of my employees, which was how I gained and had the respect of my employees because they see me work just as hard and harder.
Hmm.
And so, and for me, I know, and that wasn't even like my personal money invested store. So when I started thinking about the brick and mortar and that kind of, going down that road, knowing how I am, I knew that if I did that, I'd be there 7 days a week. If it was open, I would be there. Um, and therefore, I'd be there 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And at the time, my son was relatively younger,
Hmm.
and I couldn't do that. Because that was going to take too much away from him. And so I kind of, left that idea or that, I don't want to say dream, but I kind of left that there. And but I do want, and I do feel like I have products that are good enough and would be a success if I could get them into retail.
Yeah.
And so, like, I've been trying to link up with a manufacturer who could produce a couple of my items, and I'm looking at mainly cookies. Um, and in my mind, it would be kind of like, like the grandma cookies, they come in like the 2 pack or whatever,
Yeah.
something like that you could grab and go.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's kind of the path I'm going down now, to see if maybe it's doable or possible, um, to maybe start branching out in that area. Um, so I guess along with everything else I got going on this year, it would be kind of trying to see if there's a pathway to that, to getting into retail and having some items manufactured.
Yeah, I mean, and just getting out and saying it verbally on an interview and everything, that's putting it into the ether, you know? So God
Right.
only knows what's going to come out of that. I think you got the chops for sure, you know? And don't ask me, ask everybody, literally anybody who's listening or watching should pause it right now and go and look at all of these reviews. Like, you can tell they're not AI generated, nothing like that. These are real
No,
stories.
they're not.
Yeah, literally. I only had a couple more questions for you. What is it that, like, what business value would you say that JoJo's Sweet Treats um, puts on a pedestal, if you will, above the rest of them? From what I've seen, from what I've read, and just from hearing you talk, it's really built on trust. Am I tracking there? Or?
Yeah, it's for me, I guess my goal with every order that I do, no matter how small, how big, it don't matter, um, is knowing that I put out a great product that tastes amazing, it looks good. Um, my goal is that every dessert or treat that goes out a year is going to put a smile on somebody's face. Um, no matter what and like on my business card on the back, it says treats that make every event sweeter. And so every event, if it's a birthday party, a grad away, those are all sweet and awesome and great. But my goal is that my treats and desserts will make that event just that much more special because I took the time to make beautiful, great tasting products. And I guess it's just what I strive for is to just know that at the end of the day, that client, whether it's the bride, the birthday girl, whatever, they're beyond happy, and I exceeded their expectations. And the quality of product that I put out matches my expectations, which is higher than anybody else's. Trust me.
Yeah.
I drive my family and my mom, who's my helper, crazy a lot of times because she'll be saying, "Oh, they're great." And I'm like, "No, it's not right. The cookie's too dark," or the chocolate striping didn't come out right, so I got to throw it away. And she's like, "No, you can't throw it away." Like, but
Like, why are
it
you
didn't
throwing
meet
away
my
these precious
expectations.
cookies that we could eat?
I know. Yeah, normally she'll take them home. She's like, "Well, your dad and I'll take them home. We'll eat them. We don't care if they're dark." And so, and maybe my client wouldn't either. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like maybe my client would be like, "No, it's great." but it didn't meet my expectations.
Right.
And so nothing goes out of here without meeting my expectation. And they're higher than anybody's. And so that's my goal. That's my policy, my mission, whatever you want to call it. That's what I live by.
Hmm. And I know, getting it into manufacturing would work because you've tinkered the recipe so many times. You know exactly how brown these cookies should be. You know, you know
I
exactly the temperature, what to cook them at, what to bake them
know
at, what to
exactly
freeze
how
them.
many minutes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes,
It's that
it's
level of
down to science.
yeah, it's that level of attention to detail that I feel like makes you stand out above any other body named JoJo. Yeah, doing anything.
Thank you.
What's what's like one or two things you would say to, anybody, women in particular that want to get into business or want to get into baked goods? What would you tell them? Like, what would you tell them to look out for? Have you experienced anything that you're like, hey, in the baking industry, look out for this if you're a woman in business? Would you have anything for anybody like that?
So for anybody looking to get into baking, um, just know that there is a lot of competition, and I swear every day I get on social media and a new two or three pop up. Um, um, you know, so you have to find a way to make what you do stand out above everybody else. Are you going to win every client? Absolutely not. Don't even try. You'll kill yourself, you'll waste your time, and you'll get defeated. You can't go into thinking that I'm going to win every client. It doesn't work that way. But you have to find that one thing or that two things that set you apart from the competition, and you focus on that. And whether that's the attention to details, or it's you offer a certain service or a certain product that maybe your competition doesn't, you just have to find that little niche that sets you apart. As far as women, for women who want to go into any kind of business, it's not easy. um, there's a lot of, I call them haters. um,
Definitely haters.
and that's even amongst women. Just other women business owners are sometimes the biggest haters.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, people will hate
and
you just because you're like doing something outside of what they know you to be. You know.
right, and so you have to learn to, one, be able to deal with that, and you have to be strong enough that you don't let the negativity that they may throw your way get you down or defeat you, or lower your confidence in yourself.
Right.
For me, women have to be stronger when it comes to um, making sure people understand that we're not stupid, we're capable, we're able, we're smart, we have the same abilities as anybody else, and
Hmm.
homework just as harder and sometimes harder, to be honest.
Definitely harder.
Um, and you can't, and some people think, or some women think, well, I'm a mom and I'm a wife, and so I don't have time, I can't do that. You can. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I homeschool my son, so I'm a teacher, I have my own business, I work a full-time job. You can be more than just a wife and a mom. You can have your own business, you can run your own business, you can be successful. um, and we can multitask, and to me that's like, I think that's women's superpower, is we are good at multitasking, and having 10 things going on all at the same time, but they're each in their own little box. And so you just have to be able, you have to tell yourself, I can do it, I deserve to be able to do it, and you just have to do it. And eventually you start proving to yourself over time that I can do this. I can be a mom and a wife and a teacher and whatever else. I can do all that and be successful in
Yeah.
my own business.
Anything you need to be. You know. Not to
Right.
sound too after school programming here, but it's true. The crazy part about women in general, not just women in business, is that they multitask, but none of the tasks like drop at all. Like there'll be 10 things you
Right.
need to do and they'll all be efficiently done.
And
It's
that's what
crazy.
makes us, like when I was back in my managing days, that's what made women such good managers. Like the women in my district and region or whatever were always the better managers. And it was mainly because we can multitask.
Hmm.
We can do 10 things at once and they all get done right and good and on time. And that's just that is our superpower.
Yeah.
It's the gift we were given. And so I just believe that you take advantage of that and you prove to yourself that, yes, I can do all these things all at the same time every day and I can do them all well. Is
Yeah.
there days that I slip and I don't do something and I'm not the best mom that I could be on this day? Yes, that happens. And the next day you get up and you do it all over and you say, you know what, I'm going to do better today. And or maybe the next day you have more time to be a better mom or a better wife or whatever. And so you make up for it. But are you perfect every day? No. But you can do it. And in the end, your life, you feel more gratified and because you are doing it and you are accomplishing it and you are being successful and you're telling yourself every day that I did it. And to me that means a lot. And it helps you build your confidence. And the more confident you get in anything that you're doing, the better you feel about yourself, about your life, and it affects how you do everything.
Yeah. That was very well said. Truthfully,
Thank
I got a good friend of mine. She has a cheesecake business, and she was telling me how she had to change numbers, because she was essentially getting catcalled through her phone. I thought that was awful. You know what I mean? Not even to sound preachy, but like you see someone doing well and you try and get a two for one by supporting their business, but also trying to like be with them or date them at the same time. That's gotta be almost impossible to navigate for women. Like
right.
especially trying to do anything entrepreneurial.
It can be challenging, and again, you just to me, it just comes down to you have your I don't want to say boundaries, but you have your I guess it is boundaries.
Yeah, like a standard for yourself.
Right.
This is
Yeah,
what I'm not
you have a
going
standard
for.
and you don't
Yeah.
lower it. You don't, um, because the most important thing for a business owner and especially a woman is you don't ever want to do anything that can reflect bad on your brand,
Hmm.
you know. And so for me, it's always about being professional. And people do go out of their ways to try to, I guess, create havoc or um, create issues or problems, or to try to like disrupt your success, I guess, so to speak. Um, and I've just gotten to where I don't pay any attention. I don't let it even, you know, I don't have time for, I don't have space for that.
Literally,
And,
literally, water
and
under the
that's just
bridge.
how you have to get. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to let you defeat me. I'm not going to let you beat me. And I'm not going to let what you're trying, because if I let you into my space or I let you, then you won because that's
Yeah.
what you wanted.
The
And
great
so
part
you
about
just can't
that
do
is
that.
when those type of women are on your side, the ones that refuse to lose, they're amazing. When they're your competition in business, you're like, I got to pack a lunch for this one. This could be a long day at the office against her, man. Like, I
Right.
remember I remember in high school we would do like March Madness, but for history and everything like that. And the only reason I beat another woman at the game was because one of the women were out sick. And that woman that was out sick, I replaced her because she beat me before. So I won by a technicality. So it's like it's just a different ball game. You guys are a different breed, and it's amazing. It's amazing, and I can't wait to keep up with you. Over the course of the year. Hopefully, it's not the last time you're on the show or anything like that. This is pretty pleasant.
No, I would love to come back on. I've enjoyed it, and I'm always about getting my brand or my name out there or talking about what I do. I mean, I love what I do. I love talking about it. It's my passion, and so I'm all for it anytime.
Okay. Awesome. Well, tell the people where they can find you so we can get you out of here.
So you can find me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook.com/JoJo's 2014. I have a website, which is JoJo's I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. So I have all the socials covered, and my email and that kind of stuff's on my website. So I'm pretty easy to get a hold of.
Awesome. Awesome. You guys know where to find me too. Kelly, just stay on for a little bit longer. We'll talk after, but see you guys.
See ya.